we're going to be reviewing how to find patterns. So an easy way to find a pattern is to see how we're jumping from number to number. So to get from 4 to 8, we can either multiply by 2 or add 4, 8 to 3, subtract 5, 3 to 6, multiply by 2, or add 3, subtract 5, times 2, add 1, 2 to negative 3, subtract 5. So now that we see how we are getting from number to number, we have to see what keeps on showing up. And we know that the negative, adding 4 doesn't keep showing up, adding 3 doesn't keep showing up, adding 1 doesn't keep on showing up. And what does keep on showing up is to add 2 followed by subtracting 5. So we see the pattern is to multiply by 2, subtract by 5, multiply by 2, subtract by 5, multiply by 2, subtract by 5. So the next should be multiply by 2, subtract by 5, multiply by 2. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 5 is negative 11. Negative 11 times 2 is negative 22. So now, number 3. To get from 1 to 2, we can either multiply by 2 or add 1. To get from 2 to negative 2, we can multiply by negative 2 or subtract 6. This is a negative. To get from negative 4 to negative 8, we can multiply by 2 or add 12. Oh no, it's subtract 4. To get from negative 8 to negative 14, subtract 6. Negative 14 to 28 times 2. 28 to negative 34, subtract 6. So what doesn't keep showing up? Negative, add 1, multiply by negative 2, subtract 4, subtract negative 14. And we can see that the pattern is to multiply by 2, subtract 6, multiply by 2, subtract 6, multiply by 2, subtract 6. So this should be to multiply by 2, subtract 6, multiply by 2. 34 times 2 is negative 68. Negative 68 minus 6 is negative 74. Negative 74 times 2 is negative 148. Okay. Let's keep it green. So, now, how do we go from 6 to 13? And the best way to do that is to add 7, subtract 3. To get from 13 to 3. To get from 10 to 17 is to add 7. And so then this is subtract 3, add 7, subtract 3. So 17 minus 3 is 14. 14 plus 7 is 21. 21 minus 3 is 18. Now, sometimes we can't really use the same method we've been using. So, let's see. To get from 0 to 1, it's plus 1. From 1 to 1 is plus 0. 1 to 2 is plus 1, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 5. And we can see that we don't really have numbers showing up like how we have in our previous examples. So now instead of looking like what's showing up, we can find how we're getting our numbers through different methods, and this is called the Fibonacci sequence. And to get the Fibonacci sequence, we're simply, instead of looking at what we've been doing before, we have to take into account how we're getting our numbers. So we're focused on how we're getting. Let's start off with the 1, this one. How do we get this one? So to get this one, we can add both of these numbers. 0 plus 1 gives us 1. Next, how do we get the 2? 1 plus 1 gives us 2. The 3, 1 plus 2 gives us 3. 5, 2 plus 3 equals 5. 8, 5 plus 3 equals 8. 13. 8 plus 5 equals 13. So what should be next? So what have we been doing, first of all? We've basically been adding our 2 previous numbers to get our next number. So to get 1, we added our 2 previous numbers. To get 2, we added 1 and 1. To get 3, we added 1 and 2, etc. So how do we get this number? And to get this number, we add 13 and 8. 13 plus 8 is 21. This number, what do? We add our 2 previous numbers, 21 plus 13, 34. And to get our last number here, we add our 2 previous numbers again, 34 plus 21. And that gives us 55. So it's not always just about looking for numbers that keep on showing up. It's about finding like relationships between the numbers. And the relationship for number 7 is to add the 2 previous numbers to get the next number. And that's it for today.